Yeah.
I haven't even left the house recently.
It's quite insane the amount of camper van that are around. It's quite, and I've seen so many more electric campers now. There is so many.
They're becoming more popular.
Much more car rentals, which are hybrid,
Yes.
electric and camper van electric. So yeah, it's pretty
cool.
Hey guys, welcome to another one of our live session where we spend an hour answering all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, because we are the experts of traveling in New Zealand. Are we the experts?
Well, I hope so. So we are the team behind BackpackerGuide.NZ, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide, and it's absolutely free for you guys to use. You just need to go on there, browse it, search your questions, and there's bound to be an article that answers it on that website. But if you can't really be bothered reading, then we do this live Q&A session every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. So you guys can come and ask your questions to us on the live chat and get them answered directly by us, which, by the way, this is Robin. And I'm Laura. So just so you know, for the times around the world, like I said, it's 8 a.m. New Zealand time on a Sunday. But in the UK and France, that is on a Saturday evening at 8 or 9 p.m. In the US, that's on a Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. EST or 12 p.m. PST. In India, that is at the unfortunate time of 12:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And in Australia, that's it's a little bit early, but 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
It's a good time for coffee.
It is, yeah. So you can watch us with your morning coffee.
Exactly.
And throughout the week, we do take questions on any comments of our YouTube videos. So if you do have any questions throughout the week, or you miss the live chat or something like that, we do add them to our pool of questions. So we can also go through that during this live Q&A session as well, which is probably how we're going to be starting off this morning.
It is. It definitely is. Good morning, Athiras. How are you doing today? She says, hello, Robin and Laura. So,
hello.
Hey. All right. So while we're going to get started with the question that we received throughout the week, make sure to put your questions in the live chat right now so we can get to it in a moment. But first up, we're going to be starting with a question from someone that I don't want to pronounce the username, so I'll give it to Laura.
So this question is from Monozygotic Twin. On YouTube, they asked, hey guys, love your videos. It's such a huge help for any foreigners planning to travel to New Zealand. You're both so passionate and it shows. And your accents, I could listen to you both all day. Not everyone says that, so that's nice. Question. When searching ahead for intercity bus tickets traveling February, March 2020, I keep finding the $1 standard bus tickets between all destinations I plan to travel. It seems too good to be true. Why is it so cheap? And is it safe to go ahead and purchase these tickets ahead of time if I'm 100% sure of my travel days? Or would you still recommend the Flexi Pass? Thanks.
First up, thank you so much for all the compliments and all the nice things that you said. That's really cool. I'm gonna call you Twin throughout the video just because I can't pronounce that thing for the love of me. All right, so let's get started about this intercity $1 pass. So a lot of people that want to travel around New Zealand on intercity actually see this pass and ask us questions about it. So quickly, intercity, it's kind of like the countrywide bus network around New Zealand. So it's the bus network that will take you from point A to point B almost everywhere in the country. I think they have between 250 and 300 different destinations around the whole country. That is a lot of destinations. Now, intercity is not going to be a kind of your tour bus, right? It's going to take you from the bus station to the bus station, and then you explore the country yourself. It's a great way to explore New Zealand on a budget, and it will be the equivalent to something called Euroline in Europe or Greyhound in the US, to give a little bit of context. Now, yes, they do have a $1 fare, and they do advertise it everywhere, and yeah, it's a great way for them to promote themselves. So what do they have? $1 bus fare. So they do $1 bus fare because that's a great way for them to be able to put on posters and advertisement that the prices start at $1. That's a great call to action. People are like, wow, it can be that cheap. And so that's basically the reason why they do $1 fare. Now, there is not a huge availability for $1 fare. It's only one seat in every bus. And usually it's the first seat sold on every single bus. So let's say they are planning to do a bus from Auckland to Rotorua, and the bus schedule leaves at 9 a.m. every Monday morning, and they will kind of schedule that in their system. And the first person that's going to buy a bus ticket from the specific day, this 9 a.m. from here to Rotorua, will get it for $1. They sometimes do like free seats as well. So sometimes you don't have the $1, but you get it free. It's fine. So that's basically what they do and why they're doing it. So there is a few things that mentioning about this $1 fare, and you will go through a lot of those things one by one. The first is that when you actually pay for the bus ticket, it's actually not just $1. There is also a booking fee.
Yeah, so obviously once you go through the process on the Intercity website, you see the $1 sort of fare there. When you go through the booking process, and like a lot of booking websites, there is a booking fee, albeit it's quite a small booking fee, so it's nothing to really obviously change your mind to not use the $1, but yeah, usually that's just a little thing to know about. It's not always exactly $1 if you buy it online.
So to answer point blank your question that says, is it too good to be true? No, it's not. If you plan far ahead in advance to travel around New Zealand, and let's say you have about 30 different bus journeys around the country, you could get that for $30. We have heard of some people doing that. So yes, you can book them, and there will be a seat for you waiting in that bus.
It's not a con.
Exactly, it's not a con. Now, a few tips to get those bus tickets. Obviously, the earlier you book, the better it is. So if you know that you're going to be traveling in April next year or March next year, I can't remember what you say, but if you know you're planning to travel in March next year, and you are willing to set all your bus tours around, go for it.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead and save a ton of money. Like, this could make a massive difference between, having to buy either a flexi pass, which I'm going to come to in a minute, or full price bus tickets. But that could save you hundreds in traveling in New Zealand. So definitely do that. So part of your question was, do you still recommend a flexi pass or compared to that? So the flexi pass, to give everybody a little bit of context, it's kind of a bundle of bus tickets that you can buy from Intercity that will allow you to travel around the whole network. Now, if you have set destinations, you know where you're going to want to go and when you're going to want to do it and everything like that, and you can get the bus tickets for $1. Hell no, I'm not recommending the flexi pass. I'm recommending you to get the $1 bus ticket. It's way cheaper.
Yes.
However, if you want a bit more flexibility and you want to be able to plan a little bit closer to the date, like about a month ahead or something like that, or even way closer to that. But at that point, they definitely get a flexi pass, and we do have some articles on the website about
explaining the flexi pass
exactly.
and comparing it to some of their other passes as well, because there is also another type of bus ticket called a travel pass, which is actually just more paying for a set route around the country, but you are allowed to go at any time. But yeah, like Robin said, the $1, if you are lucky enough to find those $1 fares, then definitely go for that. But I think the main thing to really sort of emphasize right here, especially to monozygotic twin, is that they've seen these fares, but maybe haven't booked it yet. Absolutely book it as soon as you can, because those fares will go super quickly, and then you'll be left with okay, so my only real option is to get the flexi pass. But if you're lucky enough to have seen many of these fares for your dates, book as soon as possible.
Okay, so let's go around the terms and conditions of those $1 fares, so you actually know what you're getting into. So the first thing is, there is not that many of them. It's the first seat on every single bus, and that's it. There is no 3 seats or everything like that. So when you find it, you buy it, and that's basically it. There is also the booking fees that would apply on there. So I think it's between $3 or $5 for the booking fees. So at that point, I would recommend book your entire kind of journey all in one go, so you just pay the booking fee once. I always find it quite ridiculous that you buy a $1 bus ticket and then you have the booking fees alongside with it, which is more expensive than the actual bus ticket.
Yeah.
It's still a really good deal, even if you buy one, right? But it's just a little bit silly.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, when you buy those kind of fares, usually you book really ahead in advance. So I say buy a bundle. So you're traveling all around New Zealand, in March. Well, just book your whole month's worth of bus ticket all in one go and save even more, so that you can be super cheap.
Yeah.
All right. So another thing is Intercity operates most of their destination around the country, right? So they have a massive network and they operate themselves most of it. But there are a few areas that they subcontract to other company to operate. And that varies and everything. So we don't necessarily have the list and everything. So you only see that when you kind of book your journey with it. Now, the $1 fare only applies to the bus routes that they operate themselves. So if they have to subcontract to another company, well, at that point, it costs them more money for your bus ticket. So you don't get the $1 bus ticket there. So you may have to supplement and have maybe a couple of journeys that you will have to pay a little bit more money with it. But, the main bulk of your tour around New Zealand would probably be around $1.
Yeah.
So remember that. And again, that's going to be made really clear to you when you're going to try to find a journey and the price is not that, well, it's clear that it just doesn't exist. So, yeah. And there is another thing to point out, is that there is a couple of different type of fare. It's a little bit like when you book a plane tickets. You can have like the premium cabin and the non-refundable one and the cheap one and this and that. So when you book a bus ticket, just a one-off bus ticket with Intercity, you have a fare called Standard and a fare called Flexi. So the Flexi is refundable. You can change your booking and do all those kind of things. And the Standard is basically set. You get a good deal, but it's not refundable, it's not exchangeable, it's not, none of those things. So the $1 fare, obviously they are the standard one, so non-refundable, non-exchangeable and everything. So you're not going to get your $1 back. Not like, really need your $1, but you're not going to get your $1 back out of that. So
and you probably won't get your booking fees back either.
No, you're not getting the booking fees, for any of them, actually, I think. Even on the Flexi one, I don't think you get a booking fee. Don't quote me on that, but I actually don't.
But that's a strong possibility.
Yeah. And they also do sometimes some promotions where they do free seats. So and they actually highlight that on their website as well. So if there is a promotion running which says free seat and it's under different type of conditions and different ways to get those, well, at that point that will supplement that will supplant the $1 fare, meaning that the $1 fare will disappear and then you just have this one free seat promotion. So yeah, it does kind of balance each other, but yeah. So in short, is the $1 fare an Intercity a con? No, it is not. Should you book it as soon as you see it? Yes, you should book it very early, so like that you benefit from that. Is there a possibility to travel all around New Zealand for like around $30? Yes, there is. You can actually buy all those.
Maybe if you book that far in advance. Obviously, like Robin says, it only works if you are the first one booking onto that bus. But if you book that far in advance and you do see multiple ones of those, then definitely it is possible.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, let us know. Like, we want to hear if you guys actually got like a super good deal and you book like the whole North Island for like $12 or something. Put it in the comment below. We kind of want to know that, like how cheap you can go with those things. And will you be able to change your mind when you get, sorry, I'm just keep going with the recap. Will you be able to change your mind when you have booked your $1 seat and then after, decide to change your date or this and that, or if you miss the bus or anything like that? No, you won't. At that point, you just surrender your ticket and that's basically it. Are you able to sell back those $1 tickets to someone else? No, you're not. And I think it's covered. And is there a booking fee applicable to the $1 fare, and can it be more than $1? Yes, it is applicable, and yes, it will be more than $1. So that should recap everything you need to know about the $1 fare from Intercity. We have a lot of information actually about the Intercity network and all the bus networks around the country on BackpackerGuide.NZ. So make sure to check that out. We have a whole bus section. So if you go and prepare your trip and then transportation, there is a whole section about buses where we cover everything in details and we keep that up to date for you guys. So just make sure to check it out so you know what you are in for when traveling around New Zealand with Intercity. In the meantime, if you did find this video useful, like, if someone just told you that you could travel New Zealand for like $1, if you think that's super useful, make sure to like and subscribe, because we do those kind of videos to help you guys plan your trip in New Zealand every single day. Every single week, and we publish new video every day. So that's pretty awesome. All right, let's go back to the live chat. A lot of things happening. So Athira says he's from India and from Mumbai. He's 30 years old. He's pumped to fly New Zealand for his 2 weeks vacation tomorrow. Oh, that's awesome.
Wow,
tomorrow. That's so cool. Do you have everything planned, everything ready?
Everything packed.
Yeah. Did you forget your passport?
Yeah,
Don't forget your passport.
Do you remember your passport?
He says, thanks to your gap year video, I have all my itinerary all planned out well in advance. Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
What's going to be the highlight? What are the things you're going to do the most at Therath? Taylor Canceldale Griffin says that All Blacks. So he's sad about the All Blacks. Hey, listen, the All Blacks lost on the World Cup. I get that, but there's still a news that came out actually recently that Sonny Bill Williams, which is probably the most famous All Black player at the moment, is actually the best paid rugby player in the world. So that just shows you that you can still lose.
You can still be a loser, but be a winner.
But make a ton of money through sponsorships. That's pretty awesome. So, there is a silver lining right here. It's kind of, you don't have to try that hard to make a lot of money, apparently. I'm joking. I've seen the guy. He's big. Don't come and kick my my rear end. Reggie Matthews says, hi, Backpackers. How are you doing, Reggie? It's been a while. Ravi C say, like and subscribe. Should I need to declare shoes at the Auckland airport? You don't need to declare shoes at the Auckland airport, except
for hiking shoes.
Yeah.
They do say that on the declaration card when you arrive in New Zealand, you need to tick off a few boxes to basically declare in writing what you want to declare when arriving in New Zealand. And one of the tick boxes does ask you to let them know if you do have hiking shoes. Definitely declare your hiking shoes or your walking shoes or whatever you want to call them.
Even on your walking gears, you have a walking pole.
Or if you have a tent, anything to do with hiking or the outdoors, basically you need to declare it. But also, you'll need to clean your shoes before you come to New Zealand. Make sure that you don't come to New Zealand with lots of soil on the bottom of your hiking shoes. Otherwise, they'll ask you to clean it at the airport, which, that obviously will slow down the whole process. So you might as well just clean up all your gear before packing it in your bags. And that's the best way to go about it. And make sure you declare it.
Yeah, so the one thing I want to point out on that is that a lot of people are actually afraid when we say you need to declare it. They're like, I don't want to declare it. There is nothing bad in declaring.
No.
Like, every single, and we go back and forth quite a lot, right? Every single time we're in an airport, we have something to declare.
Yeah.
We just declare it. They're like, okay, you got hiking shoes. Can I see the sole? And what we do, because we kind of so used to it, we always wear our hiking shoes.
We just have our hiking shoes on.
Exactly, because we kind of like, otherwise you have to pick it out of your bag and everything. So we know what we declare basically is always kind of ready to show, right? So if we declare hiking shoes, they say, can I see the sole? We just kind of literally show the sole of our shoes. And it's like, okay, cool, move on.
Yeah.
Sometimes, there's, like, for example, snorkel gears, right? When we go to some of the South Pacific Islands, we have snorkel gears. And we declare the snorkel gear, and they ask us, did you, wash it and clean it? We know that. We do that for a living, so we're very well aware of that. So we always kind of wash them and soap it, anyway, after salt water, you kind of should do that. Yeah, exactly.
Out, yeah.
So we always, we tell them, yeah, it's been done. And most of the time, they're like, okay, cool, you move on. That's what happens. And even if they catch us and they say, okay, I need to see it, and then they look at the snorkel and they're like, oh, there's a little bit of seaweed and we need to clean it. First, why are you traveling with seaweed in your luggage? You know how stinky that would be.
Yeah.
But second, they will kind of, give you some brush, just clean it, and then you move on. Or they have a solution that they just put it in a bucket and like a chemical kind of solution, they put it in the bucket and then give it back to you. That's it. You're not going to get a fine or anything. However, if you don't declare something and then they find something, then they actually apply a fine on top of doing all these things and actually even surrendering the items. So don't be afraid of declaring too much. Like, it's a question.
Yeah.
Honestly, we have a video about what to declare on YouTube, right? And we have hundreds of comments on there. Should I declare this? Should I declare that? Should I declare? Declare. There's nothing wrong in declaring at all.
Yeah.
Like, declare. If you're unsure, declare it. There is nothing. Like, if anything, you're going to have a guy that is going to respect the fact that you were not sure and you didn't think he was a dumbass. And, that's it.
Yeah.
Declare it.
Yeah.
It's all good. Anyway, it's just because it's something that we get really, really often. So I just want to make that super clear. Okay. Athira says, with so many outdoor activities planned on each day, combined with car driving, I'm just worried about getting too exhausted. I will need to go to bed early so that I get adequate sleep. Any tips? Yeah, we do have some tips. So when we're on the road, we like to get to bed really early and wake up early morning, because usually you'll be sharper in the morning. And it's for everybody, even people that say not morning people. It actually is the case. You usually are sharper in the morning. So we like to wake up start at 5 and go nuts on that. Also, there is less people around, which is quite cool. Another thing is that we usually pumped on. We are usually pack on vitamin C and everything like that. So we drink orange juice, like the good one, not the cheap, super sweet one, but like actual made out of 100% real orange. So orange juice. We eat a lot of fruit as well.
Yeah.
It kind of kicks you up and everything. And we actually try not to drink coffee when we're on the road. When we are, when we're not on the road, we obviously do like our hot drinks and everything like that. But tea and coffee, we try to avoid that when we're on the road.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a bit of a kick, but then you crash. So in the morning, an apple, like straight away when you wake up, an apple that can give you the zinc that you need. Orange juice, those kind of things. Any other tips for that?
Just eating healthy in general, really. Just don't overload on the fast food and stuff. I know it can be like after driving, you're like, oh, I can't really be bothered cooking and stuff. And actually, cooking for yourself and staying in accommodation with sort of self-catering facilities like kitchens or kitchenettes or something like that. And cooking for yourself usually means that you tend to be eating a lot more healthy than if you're eating out, because obviously restaurants like to make the food taste good, which usually doesn't mean that there's necessarily anything healthy in there. So I would say, like, if you're a tip definitely that we would say is try and be as healthy as possible, because that will make traveling around, you'll have so much more energy and it'll just make the whole experience a lot better.
And the other thing the last tip I'm going to give you on this traveling is like stop a lot along the way. Like don't try to do a stint of like 4-hour driving. First, it's not fun. Second, your brain is going to start dozing off and everything. So we actually stop much more than the recommended time. We actually usually stop once every hour at least, right? And we stop somewhere, you take 10, 15 minutes, you either have a bite, you just enjoy the view, you take a deep breather, you walk around the car, like, not around, don't do loops around, but you walk a little bit, like you kind of exercise and move, and it really keeps you fresh on the driving and all of that, and it keeps it fresh for a long time. Like, you've seen the videos, right? We done not that long ago, we done New Zealand's biggest gap year, when we did 365 days, 365 activities. We didn't cheat on that. We actually did all of that only in 1 year, and we covered a lot of destinations and a lot of activities. And on top of that, we were doing videos and all of that along the way. So that's a ton of work, right? So we had 14 to 15 to 16 to 17 hours days every single day without a day off for an entire year. So we applied those rules kind of really strictly, and we did it. And honestly, we didn't find it like crazy hard.
No,
we had a couple of times when it was a bit rough, when the weather on top of it was terrible, or those kind of things. But honestly, like physically, like as keeping sharp and everything, it was kind of fine.
Yeah. So, and also going back to what Robin said about doing things in the morning, for us, when we were doing that experience, we tried to do as many activities as we could in the morning, so that it kind of made the afternoon a little bit more relaxing. And that's more the time when we could sort of like, rest a little bit and get prepared for the next day. So just try to do like half day activities usually means that you have enough time to rest.
You slowly wind down. All right, cool. So Ayushi Bothra, I am terrible at names today. Says, I'm traveling to New Zealand in March, around the 16th to the 16th of March to the 3rd of April. Is it a good time? Do car rental company ask for security deposit? So it's a decent time to travel. It's still going to be kind of the end of the peak season, so it's still going to be a little busy, and the prices are not going to be that great. If you can move that like about months away, that may be even better, but it's still a great time.
That is still a good time.
Because it's on the wind down, And
also the weather is still good. It's still quite warm from the summer. Obviously, it's starting to cool down a little bit compared to the New Zealand summer, but in terms of the weather, it is usually a very good time compared to obviously not experiencing the absolute peak season prices and the peak season busyness of New Zealand. You sort of lose a little bit of that as well.
My busyness.
What?
You say busyness.
Busyness.
My busyness. Cool. And also she asks, do car rental company ask for any security deposits? Yes, if you don't get their premium insurances. So when you hire a car in New Zealand, and let's take an example, it costs $50 for a day. This $50 for a day includes the car rental and also includes the base insurance. Every car rental company has to have that. So this base insurance means that you will have an excess of usually between 2,500 New Zealand dollars and 5,000 New Zealand dollars if you crash or destroy or damage the cars or anything like that, right? So you'll be paying up to that. Now, if you buy one of the premium insurance, which is like something like an extra $15 per day, it reduces the excess to only like, either zero, some companies only $10 and this and that. And at that point, you don't have to give a security deposit. Now, for most companies, when you're actually going to get the base one only and say, no, I don't want the insurance, which is what we usually do, because, there's still an insurance, it's just a little bit more. So for most car companies that do that, yes, you will have to pay a deposit. So either it's going to be taken out of your credit card, that's just going to lock the amount on the credit card. So it's not going to be taken away from your money, but it's just going to be an amount that you can't spend that is locked until, you return the car in good shape. Or some companies may just say, okay, you need to give us the cash, or, and you give cash, and then they give you back the money, obviously, when you return the car. But yes, it is common practice in New Zealand to do that.
And also, we do have an article on Backpacker Guide which lists some of the companies that actually don't require a credit card, but you can pay that security deposit in another way, because most car rental and camper van rental companies in New Zealand will require you to have a credit card in order to rent for them, so that they have that as the basically security deposit backup. But there are a very small amount of car rental companies that will take different payment methods for that security deposit. So go check that out on Backpacker Guide.
There you go, what she said. Nebojza Doros. Oh my God, people with the names, you're just doing it on purpose today. Nebojza Dorosvaski. Oh, I hope I did this one correct.
I don't think you did.
I'm moving to New Zealand. I can't wait. Awesome. When are you coming to New Zealand? And where are you going to be staying? What are you doing? What's the plan? Tell us everything. Hessian says, hello, Laura and Robin. Hello. What are you doing for Christmas this year? Well, we are going to eat a lot of food. So Christmas in New Zealand happens in summer. So it's all about barbecue on the beach and all of that. So that's probably something like that we're going to be doing. I have to be honest, it's pretty far away from Christmas yet. So we haven't even thought about it. I mean, like, what?
That reminds me. Oh my God, it's Christmas soon.
Yikes. I have not thought about that at all. I mean, come on. It's not even the 25th of November yet. So we are we're about 6 weeks away from Christmas. Is that correct? Yeah,
something like that.
No, so it's probably barbecue on the beach or something like that. It's probably.
I think it's going to be more orientating around food, really. Food. Yeah.
we don't really do like presents or this and that. We do food.
Yeah.
MBK says, "Good morning. I just wanted to say hi. I love you all. We love you too, MBK. Good Yay! Morning. We like to love everyone." Athira says, for me, each of the shortlisted activities will be a highlight: Sky Tower, Hobbiton, Tepuya, Cathedral Cove, Seal Swim, Queenstown Luge, Milford Sound, Glenorchy, Wanaka, Kauro Bungee. Whoa! Ooh. So hopefully you're going to do the bungee. You're not going to chicken out like I did. So you're going to do it like Laura did.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just type bungee and Backpacker Guide on YouTube and just find out that video. It's pretty funny if you want to make fun of me. Also awesome that you're going to do a seal swim. So seal swim in Kaikoura is actually one of my favorite activities I've ever done in my entire life. So definitely worth doing it. And we've done it.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. You're going to have fun. At the Hobbiton, are you doing a day tour? Are you doing a night tour? Which one did you choose? And as Sky Tower, are you jumping from the Sky Tower? Are you walking around? Or are you just going up and enjoying the view? You should do the latter. Athira says, but I guess ballooning in Canterbury would be something I'm looking forward to, probably because the most expensive activity of my trip. Yeah, that is so expensive. I always find it absolutely crazy how that is expensive.
I know.
I don't know why. I don't understand why the pricing is. Maybe because I
think it's such a unique activity. It's you don't even see them operate that often because people, I guess, also a lot of people don't really know where they can do ballooning in New Zealand. There's often a lot of sort of pictures about ballooning, but there's not really that much information of where can you actually go in a hot air balloon. So ballooning Canterbury is one of the options, and it's not the cheapest thing to do in New Zealand, that's for sure.
All right, so Nebush says that wasn't correct pronouncing.
I think we all knew
Yeah,
that.
I think it was just wishful thinking. He says in 3 months he's going to come to New Zealand. He or she is going to come to New Zealand and will work in Hamilton. Cool, that's going to be awesome. I hope you're going to get some time to explore New Zealand. It's more fun if you actually do travel around New Zealand than just
absolutely.
work. But yeah, Ayushi says, "Can I meet you guys when I visit New Zealand? Can you guide me on what activity I should do while in New Zealand?" There is a ton of things to do in New Zealand. So meeting us, we are very often on the road. Our planning is very erratic. So you're more than welcome to send us a private message, either on Facebook and everything, and see where you are when we are, and then we see if we can meet up. We do some meet up from time to time. But the thing is, because our plan change all the time and we're here more permanently, it's not fair to make you guys move your short amount of time in New Zealand around it. So that's why we kind of not really organizing meetups all the time. It's just for you guys to enjoy your trip more. We're running around with cameras all the time. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
Now, can we guide you on what activities should you do while visiting in New Zealand? Yeah, we have hundreds of videos on the channel with ton of activities that a lot of them that we love. We also do a lot of plans. Do you want to show the map quickly?
Sure.
So some people just tell us, hey, I'm going to be in New Zealand for like 14 days. And, I like this, and that. So, I like the nature and I like the culture. And so then we kind of usually make an itinerary right here and we write things down and to give you an idea. So you can also check on our YouTube channel. There is a playlist called Itineraries. And on that playlist, we have already about like 20 or 30 of those. So you can browse those ones, see if you like them. So we tell you which place to visit, what activities to do. But if you do find that there's nothing that suits you, just put it in the comments of any other videos. Give us a few criteria, a few things that we'll be doing. Give us the more context you give us, basically, the better. Because if you just tell us New Zealand 2 days, well, go here and there. And, it's completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
So the more context you give us, we're super happy to help.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So while you guys are asking us more questions on the live chat, what about we do another one of those questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
All right. So Taj Graham asked on YouTube.
Oh, wait. Did you pronounce that well?
Probably not. Yeah. So Taj Graham asked on YouTube, "Hey guys, hope you are both doing great. Can you recommend a good website for a flat for a couple? Cheers."
All right. So finding a flat in New Zealand is something that quite a lot of travelers want to do because in New Zealand there is something called the working holiday visa that allows people from 42 different countries to get a work visa for 1 year, and you are able to work and travel in New Zealand. And usually when you find a job, usually for like 3 to 6 months in a city or something like that, you want to stay in a flat because that will allow you to kind of experience more the local life as well as save money on accommodation. Before we get started with websites to find kind of a flat in New Zealand, we were kind of like thinking, okay, how are we going to approach that? Because you don't really spend that much time on website to find that. New Zealand is a little bit behind the time.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do in this video is to give you kind of 6 different resources that you will be able to use to be able to find a flat in New Zealand. And you will see that some of them are pretty archaic. Some of them are, new age technology on the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just to preface that, we are going to be giving you plenty of ways to find a flat. And the last thing I want to point out before even we get started is that you have to be in New Zealand to find a flat in New Zealand. There is no one that's going to actually accept you to start renting, to pay the deposit, and to do any of that before you arrive here. So many people try to do that, don't. You need to get yourself to New Zealand. The best way to do it is that you get yourself to New Zealand, you travel a little bit, you find a city that you do like, you stay in a hostel for a little bit, or backpacker hostels. Look for a job. Once you find a job, then at this point only you find a flat. And that is the best and most trial and trust, or well over 10 years of experience in that. This is how you should be doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So different resources to find a flat in New Zealand. So we're going to give you about 6, and Nora is going to get started with the first one.
Okay, so number 1 on the list is using bulletins. Now, if you don't know what a bulletin is, it's kind of like a paper form, sort of, kind of like a magazine. It's like like half of it's kind of like a magazine, but a newspaper as well, kind of like something in between. And usually it's just full of job listings,
advertisements.
Maybe, and it's just advertisements. So it'll have job listings, it will have things to buy and sell, and maybe a few sort of business advertisements as well. But most importantly, it will have some flat listings in there as well. There's some very popular towns in New Zealand like Queenstown and Wanaka, which have their own bulletins, and you can usually find those bulletins usually stacked up in liquor stores or convenience stores, and they do go really quickly, and they come out once a week usually. So when you find out what day they come out, make sure you head there on that day straight away so you actually get one. And
and Queenstown is Thursday, is it?
I think it was Tuesday, but I'm not 100% sure. So that Queenstown's an obvious one because that is such a popular place where there is a lot of listings in their bulletin, and there's very much a need for a bulletin because there's so many people always looking for jobs and places to stay there.
It's a great way to find jobs because everybody is searching online, so you have a little bit less competition in applying for jobs on the bulletin as well.
So most larger towns and larger cities will have their own versions of their bulletins. So, when you arrive in a city, it's time for you to do a little bit of research, go and have a look into some, even asking hostels like, hey, is there a bulletin or anything for the town so that I can look up places to rent? And usually they can guide you in the right direction.
Yeah. So another way to find a flat in New Zealand is your coworkers and your friend. That's the way that we find the most successful one, honestly. So as soon as you arrive in a town, that's what we say, you've got to be in New Zealand. Where as soon as we arrive in a town, you're going to get, you're getting yourself a job, and highly likely that your coworkers are in a very similar situation than you. So they all have a flat. They all, they're often looking for flatmates, which, a flat is an apartment that is shared. So, you need other people to share it with if you want it to be like that. So it's one of the easiest way. You can also ask your friends, other people in your hostels that probably are either in the hostel because they just left their flat and they're about to travel again, or because they're just right there, and then you maybe can work together in searching a flat, or, just those kind of things. So usually it's really kind of the easiest way is kind of like make connections, make friends, and that goes really fast. I mean, honestly, using coworkers, like as soon as you find a job, I found that it takes you like 3 days to find a flat at most. It's really fast. With the caveat that there is a couple of places like Auckland Central and Queenstown, which is much harder if you have a small budget.
Yeah, and just to go on top of that as well, it just emphasizes that New Zealand really is a face-to-face country where usually opportunities are more found through the people you know or meet rather than what's listed, because a lot of even this applies to jobs as well. Most jobs and flats available aren't actually listed anywhere because they're usually snatched up by people that are just like, they're out there, they're talking to people and they find out about it, and they're the ones that actually get the job or the place to stay.
Speaking of face-to-face, another way to find groups is to find flat is Facebook groups. Yay! Transition.
That was terrible. But actually, this goes on to more about what the question was like. What the question was about, what websites to use. So that first website on the list is actually Facebook. So there are a lot of Facebook groups around New Zealand for certain towns. Once you arrive in a town, it's good to join the groups for that town. There's usually groups like a buy and sell, or like or rooms for rent in, then it says the city. And this is usually a good way to actually find opportunities. And obviously people use Facebook groups because it's free to list things on there. So that's usually where you'll find the most variety of opportunities. And it's a simple process of usually if there's flats to rent, it will say on a listing on the Facebook group, you just need to reply to the comment and arrange to go for a flat viewing, because yes, you should always do a flat viewing before you go and stay there. And that's so important because it's common sense. It can look very different online, what the flat looks like compared to actually being there and the whole vibe of the flat. You also want to sort of meet the housemates and, see who you're going to be living with as well. Just is always better to go and check that out yourself. So next on the list, do you want to go for the next one?
Yep. So another one, we are getting back away from websites. We are going to be talking about supermarket boards. And I was about to say job boards, but in supermarket, there are those boards where all the locals can take a little cardboard and write down something and then leave it on the board.
It's a notice board.
Yeah, notice board. Believe it or not, those in real life IRL notice board are actually a thing in New Zealand, which people buy and sell stuff there. They find flats there, and it actually exists. So go there with your phone, look at it, and when you find the right flat, and just call, and that's it. I just cannot believe this thing still exists.
But it does.
2019, 2020, people are still using supermarket board, but it does work, and actually, especially in like smaller town and everything, it's actually very, very, very popular to find a flatmate.
Yeah. Okay, another quite archaic way to find a room to rent. For rent.
This video is brought to you by Back in Time.
Yeah. So the next way is newspapers. There are still quite a lot of local newspapers in New Zealand. There's often a lot of towns with free delivery of newspapers for just that local community, and there'll be a lot of classified ads in the back of those newspapers, and a lot of the time in the back there'll be rooms to rent or house shares or something like that. Usually the selection or the selection of offerings is quite minimal, because obviously people do have to pay to actually have those listings in the newspaper, and obviously when there's things like Facebook groups where you can do it for free, that's kind of usually the newspaper is the last resort, but it's definitely worth having a look in the back and seeing if there is anything, and drawing a few circles around the listings that look good. I always like the look of that.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, we're going down to the website, which are specialized in finding flatmates in New Zealand. So the first website is not specialized in that, but it's called Trade Me. It's the equivalent of eBay in New Zealand. And in Trade Me, there is a flatmate section on the site. And at that point, you will be able to browse that. It's the most popular website in New Zealand. So there is going to be quite a lot on offering there. But it's usually people that are looking mostly long terms and those kind of things. There is also some website like NZ Flatmate or Easy Roommate. I know it sounds like a very dodgy website, the last one, but it's actually true in New Zealand. It's not a kinky website. It is an actual website to find easily a roommate.
Yeah.
I don't think they thought this one through too much. So those websites, you actually create a profile on those two websites, and so you have to tell a little bit about yourself, put the pictures and all of that. If you do create your profile and don't put a picture of yourself, you're gonna have very little chance to find a flatmate. So make sure that you do put a picture.
Yeah.
And then you can browse different flats. You have all the configuration of which flatmate you have there and all of that, so you get much more information. However, I would say, and obviously I'm making up this data right now, I'm not 100% sure, but I will be willing to bet that less than a third of all the flats available in New Zealand are actually listed online.
Yeah, usually they are a very small amount of listings. Yeah. It's usually what people go to as a last resort if they haven't been successful in finding some flatmates. So, it's usually the stuff that's been left till last, which sometimes you're like, why has this been left till last?
Yeah, exactly. So those are the websites. So again, Trade Me, NZ Flatmate, and Easy Roommate. Those are the websites that we will be recommending for you to use.
There's another one called Flat Finder as well.
That's true. There's Flat Finder as well. So yes, that will be the website to find flats in New Zealand. Now we do have much more information about long-term accommodation in New Zealand on BackpackerGuide.NZ. So if you go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, you click on accommodation, and then on the drop-down, you will find a tab called long-term accommodation. And check this out. We also talk to you about all your rights that you have as a tenant in New Zealand, which is quite important as as one of the flatmate in the flat, as well as a lot of other resources for you, like everything what you're supposed to pay, how much you're supposed to pay,
what paperwork to expect,
paperwork, all the bond, all those kind of things. We explain all the terms and all of that. So make sure to check this one out. And if you find this video useful, like and subscribe, because that's always really a really good way to say thank you for all our hard work. All right, let's go back to live chat. Ross Benton says, greeting from Niagara Falls.
Oh, cool.
Well, guess what? There is a Niagara Falls in New Zealand. And actually, if you Google it, you can see a picture of my face almost instantly on it. And
if you Google New Zealand,
Niagara Falls, New Zealand. So here you go. We have Niagara Falls in New Zealand. There's a big picture of me laughing at it. It's actually the waterfall, which is deemed to be the smallest one in New Zealand, and cheekily, New Zealand has called it Niagara Falls. So if you actually travel to New Zealand, Ross, you've got to go there. There is a sign as well that says Niagara Falls and everything. So make sure you take a picture of yourself with that. But
and you can find it in the Catlins, and we even have a video on YouTube.
We actually have a video,
visiting the Niagara Falls in New Zealand. So if you type in the search on YouTube, Niagara Falls, Backpacker Guide NZ, you'll be able to see our video.
Actually, if you type Niagara Falls, New Zealand on YouTube, one of the first suggestions is actually our video. So
there you go.
Here you go. Cool. So Athira says Hobbiton is going to do a day tour, and then in Sky Tower he's just going to do the view, because that's going to be his first activity after landing in Auckland. He doesn't want to be too jet lagged after 18-hour travel. The Sky Tower is actually a great first activity in New Zealand, because it's literally taking a lift and looking through a window.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people can genuinely sort of handle. So that's good.
That is a very, very good first activity to do here.
Yeah.
Sharad Maheshari says, what to see in Auckland? The Sky Tower is a great thing to see in Auckland. Rangitoto Island is an amazing volcano, which is in the Hauraki Gulf. When you climb the volcano, it only takes you about 1 hour. You get a beautiful view of the crater, and you get stunning views of the Auckland skyline. Plus, along the way, you have lava caves that you can explore and lava fields, which are mind-blowing. And you also have some section on the walk, which goes through beautiful native New Zealand bush. Honestly, it's a perfect combo for an epic day out in Auckland. There is also Tiri Matangi Island that Laura really likes.
Yep, so you can take a ferry from the centre of Auckland and you can head to Tiri Matangi Island, which is a bird sanctuary. And it's a good insight into what New Zealand used to be like before humans migrated to New Zealand and destroyed all the birds. But you can go and see the birds on this island, which is really cool. And also other things to do in Auckland. Another island you could go visit is Waiheke Island, which is known for its vineyards and has lots of wineries. So you can go on a winery hopping tour, which is pretty cool. Other things you can do if you just want to stay in the centre of Auckland or just sort of in the central area of Auckland is walk to Mount Eden, which is I think it's the tallest sort of volcanic cone in the centre of Auckland. And it has some really awesome views from up there. And of course, Auckland has lots of sort of indoor attractions as well. You can go to the Auckland Art Gallery. You can go to the Auckland Museum. I would definitely recommend the Auckland Museum. It has lots of really interesting displays on the Maori culture and the history of New Zealand. So that's always really fun. And that is also set in the Auckland Domain, which is this huge park, which actually has a couple of bushwalks. And it kind of makes you feel like, how is this possible in the middle of a city? But there's just a few ideas for making your way around Auckland and doing some awesome stuff. Do we want to have a look at more of the live chats?
Yes. All right, cool. So we also had so Ross was saying he's a tour guide in Niagara Falls, which is
cool.
So here you go. I gave you a fun fact to tell to your audience.
There's also a Niagara Falls in New Zealand, which is apparently the smallest falls.
Smallest fall. Yeah. So Ross had a question actually asked in the live chat. So in the comments of any of our videos a little bit earlier. So we'll cover that in a minute. And Kushal says, what are the best areas to stay in Rotorua? Do you want to answer that for a second?
To stay in Rotorua? So in terms of accommodation Rotorua is quite a small city. Although it is called a city, it is quite small. So there's quite a lot of different sort of places that you can stay. A lot of the more ideal places to stay is in the city centre, because a lot of the tour companies do pickups from the city centre, can even do pickups from your accommodation. That's basically a way of going about it so that you can do lots of different stuff. There are some different areas just on the outskirts of Rotorua where you can find the redwood forests, where there are a limited number of hotels and holiday parks where you'll be able to go and walk to the redwood forest, for instance, and check out some of those activities that are on the outskirts. So yeah, that's about it for Rotorua, but in terms of places to stay.
All right. So in the meantime, let's go through Ross's question. So Ross Benton on YouTube says, is there any items that you can only buy in New Zealand and not in the USA? All right. So first up, a bit of a caveat. I think you can buy everything online nowadays. So there is most thing you will be able to, in some form, shape, or way, find in the USA, right? So you will be able to find most of the items that we're going to be talking about online, but it would be much easier for you to be able to find them on or in New Zealand rather than finding them online. But with that in mind, there is still a bunch of items that you may want to get from New Zealand and bring back home just because you like them a lot, because they remind you of your trip, or just to have something which is really local and fun. So there are some items which are going to be kind of very typical New Zealand. There are just some items which are kind of a New Zealand version of something. And the first one I'm going to be starting with is Whittaker's chocolate, because we love chocolate.
Yeah, so Whittaker's is a brand of New Zealand chocolate, which is really easily found in all supermarkets, probably all convenience stores as well. It's kind of like the #1 chocolate brand in New Zealand, and they do huge blocks of chocolate with all sorts of different flavors and fillings. They'll have all your standard sort of like hazelnut chocolate and...
But you want to get hokey pokey.
Yeah,
what's hokey pokey?
Hokey pokey. Well, this is what New Zealanders basically call honeycomb, but they lovingly call it hokey pokey and make it a big New Zealand thing. So yeah, hokey pokey has like there's little bits of honeycomb within the chocolate, which is really cool as well. And then they do some sort of real Kiwi, other like sort of link with other brands that are really New Zealand, like one of them being Lemon and Pyroa, which we will move on to now.
Yeah, so LNP, Lemon and Pyroa, is kind of like the New Zealand version of the lemonade. It's a New Zealand version of Sprite. It's much more yellowish because it has much more lemon in it. It has this little kick to it. It's actually from the Coca-Cola brand now. They bought it. So yeah. You're from the USA, Russ, so here you go, product from home. But yeah, so they say that the water from the town called Pyroa, which is what the P is for, makes the whole drink taste a little bit different. So lemon and Pyroa, LNP is another unique product of New Zealand.
All right, next up, basically anything with the All Blacks on it. So for anyone that doesn't know, I don't know if that's such a thing, but if anyone doesn't know, the All Blacks are the national rugby team of New Zealand, and it's something that New Zealand are very proud of. And yeah, there are a lot of All Blacks memorabilia to be seen across New Zealand. So you can get yourself like a rugby shirt, you can get yourself a little sort of stuffed Kiwi birds wearing All Blacks rugby shirts. Honestly, you can find just about any type of souvenir which has the All Blacks on it, and yeah, that's definitely something you can get in New Zealand.
All right, so next up we have Maori carvings. So those are very kind of traditional ways to do carvings, and they usually look really awesome and intricate. You can find that in a lot of different souvenir shops. It's something that you can actually find online as well, but usually if you get them from smaller kind of places, and from the cover itself you get the story behind it as well. They're very often ornated with power shells, which are those kind of like blue and green and shiny kind of shells that they use for the eyes, for example. And so yeah, they're really unique and very much a New Zealand thing. Speaking of that, power shells are also something that you can almost only find in New Zealand, which are those shiny shells that I just described, and you make necklace, pendants, earrings, and those kind of things
and
out
ashtrays.
Of it. Yeah,
they're used a lot for ashtrays.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, another food brand that you can find in New Zealand, which you might not be able to take home with you because it will melt, but this is an ice cream brand called Tip Top. This is very easy to find again in supermarkets. You can also go to sort of like Tip Top ice cream parlors and get your scoops of ice cream, which I have to say in New Zealand, they are pretty generous with the ice cream scoops. The same cannot be said for where I come from in the UK, but when I came to New Zealand and saw how generous they are with their scoops, when you usually ask for one scoop, they usually just give you two anyway, and they're usually pretty big scoops as well. But yeah, Tip Top is a brand of ice cream in New Zealand, and they do tons of different flavors, including hokey pokey. Like I said, it's the honeycomb thing they're very proud of in New Zealand. And again, they do hokey pokey ice cream too.
Yum. Now, as per items, I'm going to talk about a whole range of clothing. So there is a brand called Canterbury or Canterbury of New Zealand. And that is basically a sports kind of clothing store, clothing brand, sorry. Its logo is like a 3 red dot with 3 kiwi birds on it. And they do a lot of like rugby, cricket, those kind of outfits and sport equipment. So you can get sports gear as well as sport clothing, and that is very typical New Zealand. Same thing, I think you are able to find those kind of things online nowadays. It's not something you can just find here, but it's a cool memorabilia to get.
Yeah, another item relating to clothing or a clothing brand from New Zealand is Icebreaker, which actually Robin's wearing now. So Icebreaker are a merino wool brand, and merino wool is very popular in New Zealand because there are a lot of merino sheep. So consequently, there are a lot of merino wool brands, and probably one of the more premium brands, because their clothes are quite expensive, is Icebreaker. And Robin likes to wear Icebreaker, and he likes only the most expensive clothes.
No, I mean the merino wool, the Icebreaker wool is one of the best, and so merino wool and is something that that New Zealand exports quite a lot. So Icebreaker and merino wool in general is something very kind of typical New Zealand.
Yeah.
All right, next up on the list is greenstone or punamu. So greenstone or punamu is a very specific type of stone, which is it has a lot of significance in Maori culture, and it's very often used to do some carving. Very often it's for necklaces or those kind of things. You can carve on, and you can watch some videos of us carving our own, which is quite cool. We've done that twice during New Zealand's biggest gap year. Or you can find that in a lot of different gift shops, and it's a really fun stuff to get. So here you go. Alongside with that, New Zealand is also famous for a really, really awful food, which is this disgusting yeast paste.
Yes.
Go for it, Laura.
So, one of the sort of popular foods in New Zealand is something called Marmite. And there is a New Zealand brand that does Marmite called Sanitarium. And they basically do like breakfast products, and you can find them in all the supermarkets in New Zealand. But yeah, the Sanitarium Marmite would be a very Kiwi thing to get. But the thing with Marmite is that you either love it or you hate it.
No. You can tolerate it because your parent forced it on you for your whole childhood.
Perhaps.
Or you hate it. That's the only way. Marmite is the wrong way to start your day.
Yeah.
That should be the.
You can always get yourself a jar of Marmite and try it for yourself. See, is it something that is gonna change your life for the better or maybe for the worse?
It definitely will change your day for the worst. It tastes. It's basically a paste made out of yeast that they just spread on toast.
It's black. God. It's like the color of tar.
Yeah.
So it's like putting tar on your toast. It's very, very strange. I don't get it. I have to say, I don't get it.
I am against it. It's not that I don't get it. It's that I campaign against this item.
Yeah.
All right. And so probably the last one, and one of the most popular things to bring back from New Zealand. Same thing. You can find that outside of New Zealand. There are some brands that sell that internationally, but it's expensive and hard to find overseas. Is Manuka honey.
Yeah, so Manuka honey is honey made from, bees that, go and pollinate the Manuka plants, which is a native plant of New Zealand. And it is renowned across the world for its sort of medicinal purposes and that sort of thing. So, it's apparently very good for healing wounds if you spread it on yourself, but also really good for your immune system or if you eat it.
It's honey, it tastes good.
I know, you would definitely want to eat it. But yeah, it comes in different strengths as well. Obviously, the sort of stronger and more intense the Manuka properties are in the honey, and that's the more expensive it is. But yeah, Manuka honey is always a really good thing to get in New Zealand. You can get it outside of New Zealand, but I think the prices outside of New Zealand are even higher. So it's generally better to get it in New Zealand to get it for a better price. But yeah, might as well if you're in New Zealand.
There you go. So that is a bunch of probably 10 or 12 things that you can only finding New Zealand, quotation mark right here.
Terms and conditions apply.
Is the
You'll
age
probably
of the,
still find it.
It's the age of the internet. You can find everything everywhere nowadays.
Exactly.
But you know that you be more prominent in New Zealand than somewhere else. I hope that you guys find that useful. If you did find it useful, and if you know you had the same question as Ross, well, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you do have questions of your own, put them in the comments of any of our videos, and we'll be here to answer them at some point. All right, let's go back to live chat. Florian Cramp says WH. I think that was the beginning of a who or what or which.
We'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. Emily Lucky said, which are some good companies for a camper van, please? Should we pre-book before going over, or is it cheaper here? If you are planning to travel during New Zealand summer, you definitely have to pre-book now. So if you're traveling between now and so between November and March, you've got to have booked it already. It is getting really expensive, and there is very limited choice. So book. If it's outside of those times, you can wait a little longer, but usually you get a better deal when you pre-book. As per which are the best camper van companies, there are so many different type of camper van and needs that the best way to do that would be to send you to BackpackerGuide.NZ. So if you go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, that's a website that we write, right? You click on transportation on the top menu. So you click on prepare your trip on the top menu, then you click on transportation, and there is camper van rental. There is a whole section about that, and we have many articles where we list which one are the best companies, but we also list them by type of travel, you know, where you're going to want to start. Also, we tell you more about each of the companies. So all those companies are companies that we trust and we know, right? Except when we say it's not a company we trust. So all those companies are companies that we trust and we know. So like that, you have all the information that you need and to choose the best one for you. Because just saying it right out of the blue, I can give you a name of the company, and then you'll be like,
okay, but they don't have what I need, or that's not what I was looking for. So yeah.
So again, go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, Emily, and just go click on prepare your trip, then transportation, then you're gonna click on camper van rental, and boom, you're gonna be sorted. You're gonna have like more information than you need. Trust us, and you probably watched a few of our videos. We like to give way more information than you need. So yeah, there is done. Florian is the has this question now. Which kind of accommodation should I choose between arriving in New Zealand and buying a camper van? Stay in a hostel because you're gonna be able to meet some people as well, which is a lot of fun. So I'd say hostel. That's backpacker hostels. Emily again asks, what is the rock and metal music scene like in New Zealand? Any rock bars or festivals?
A lot of people have been asking that recently, which I think you guys should get together and create something, because there isn't a huge maybe music scene compared to what can be found in Europe or the US or something like that. So, I mean, there definitely is a music scene. You're best going to the biggest cities like Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, in order to, you know, go to live gigs and that sort of thing. There are definitely festivals, and they usually happen in February because that's in the New Zealand summer, or in March as well. We do have articles on BackpackerGuide.NZ which lists all the festivals that happen annually, and there is quite a lot, so it's definitely worth just having a browse. Again, just search festivals on BackpackerGuide.NZ, and you'll be able to browse loads of different festivals. Really good ones also to go to is at New Year's, because again, it's summer around New Year's in New Zealand, and there are some really cool New Year's festivals.
Look, AUM Productions. It's not rock, but it's cool festivals.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And Athira says, I'm concerned about spending on food and snacks, as everything is comparatively expensive here. Can you please suggest some packed snack that I can bring along from India, which will clear biosecurity? Sadly, we can't, because we don't know anything available in India. We don't know about the Indian scene, so we can't at all. But yeah, we actually, as a general rule anyway, we recommend not bringing food in New Zealand and buying them along the way. The food is part of the experience here. And if you're a keen shopper, you're not going to be spending really that much.
Yeah.
Ross Benton says, thank you. And Robin and Laura say, you're welcome. Emily Loki said, thank you. That was really, really helpful. We're really happy to help.
Yeah.
And Ayushi says, is April a nice time to visit? How is the weather there? We do have a video about the weather in April. So just type weather April New Zealand, and you'll find our video on YouTube, and you'll find all the information about that. And April is a great month to travel in New Zealand. It's actually Laura's favorite month to travel when we are asked this question quite often. So here you go. All right, guys, we hope that this video was super useful to you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe. You know, it's always great to say thank you to us. In the meantime, we'll be back here next week at 8 a.m. on Sunday New Zealand time, which is Saturday at 8 p.m. in the UK and 9h ou 21h en France. In the USA, it's going to be Saturday at 3 p.m. EST and 12 p.m. PST. In India, it's going to be next Sunday at 12:30 a.m. Thank you very much for sticking so late with us, guys. You are awesome. And in Australia, it's going to be 6 a.m. on Sunday. Thank you very much. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.